What?
What? That was live, by the way.
What? Pancakes?
Jesus?
Pancakes?
Dick bucks?
No.
No pants Sunday!
I'm wearing pants.
I am too, because I have to go back out and shovel ice.
I was
So
downstairs where there was family members, and I felt that I should probably.
Oh, you don't need pants around family. That's what family's for.
But
Just
I
come
want to
get
wear
the fuck
pants
moving.
when my dad's around. I feel the need to wear pants.
Who are you?
A girl with daddy issues.
You're the
Obviously.
pioneer of the no pants Sunday.
It's true. I mean, I could take off my pants right now. I'm not around family anymore. But then I feel the need that I have to turn on my camera and provide and get tips. So
I'm just going to save that whole
Well, go
audio thing
for
if I
it.
could take my pants off right now and redo the intro.
ta-da! See, the thing is that I know Chris won't do it because why would he? He
'Cause
has
I'm
an
lazy.
intro.
Well, I could turn on your camera for you if you want right now.
No, thank you.
There you go.
I'm just gonna put tape over that. No, thank you.
So we're glad you didn't break the internet this week and can join us, Naki.
I'm glad too. I was really disappointed last week.
How did your 21 Windows updates go?
It took 5 fucking hours. It was great. Well, no, it didn't take that long. It actually it finished updating about 15 minutes before the show ended, and then it decided that it wasn't going to connect to the internet anymore. So that was a day project. That was fun.
Sounds awesome.
Only all of my homework is on the internet, so that's cool.
Kind of need it. Kind of.
It's kind of essential.
Yeah, just a little. So you guys want a Tim Tam
I had an
story?
internet update. Yeah.
Or did you want to talk about your internet update? Sorry.
Let's go Tim Tom first. That's more entertaining.
Yeah, it's good, Tim Tom.
Okay, so Tim Tom has showed up for the first time in quite a while. I haven't seen him. And I've seen his dad around the club.
return.
But he came in. Tim Tom had a birthday. Tim Tom is now 4. He's old enough to go into the video game room, where he terrorizes all of those children now. So
New victims for Tim Tom.
he decided we have a PlayStation 3, a Wii, and an Xbox 360. Like, and we have them all set up side by side, and you could choose whichever one you want to play with. On the PlayStation 3, it's usually Lego Batman. On the Wii, it's usually Mario, and on the 360, it's usually Minecraft. Like, these are just the 3 popular ones at the moment. And so he goes in there, and he decides he wants to play Lego Batman. Well, unfortunately, there are already 2 kids playing Lego Batman, so what does he do?
Oh, he punched him, right?
No, we didn't go straight to punching, but he took the controller out of the hand of one of the small children who were in there, and decided to push them off the chair. I'm like, well,
Nice.
no, Tim Tom, this is not a thing you can do, So I give the controller back to the first kid, and he goes to play Mario, where there's 4 players, and there's no kids actually playing. So I'm like, okay, they're safe. This is where it gets really good, guys, because Tim Tom didn't put the strap on for the Wii. Guess what Tim Tom did?
He shattered your TV.
He shattered our TV.
Is Tim Tom's dad buying you all a new TV?
Tim Tom's dad is buying us all a new TV, and Tim Tom is no longer allowed to be in the video game room because
Nice.
his version
One
of
trip, huh?
his version of getting mad at the game is to throw the remote through the TV. So Tim Tom's no longer allowed in the video game room. So then we escort him out of the video game room. We go get his dad. We tell him what happened. His dad, I feel bad for him. His dad doesn't really speak English that well. So, I'm pulling up Google Translate on my phone. He's Chinese, and I'm, translating that way, which probably is fucked up in itself. And then, so Tim Tom is sitting and watching TV. We have Cars on. He's fine because it's Cars, and whatever. But we have toddlers around. While we're trying, so we're sitting here trying to communicate with this guy's dad, and we have toddlers around, and one of them, a little girl, decides that she wants to play with Tim Tom, but she doesn't really know how to play with children in general because she's like 1.5 years old and she's just learned. She just like figured out how to walk, so she's just standing in front of Tim Tom, staring at him, like with this doll, and like trying to like put it in his lap, and he's getting mad because he doesn't know what to do because he's 4 and an idiot, and so his version of, instead of, you know, saying, hey, I don't want to play with you, or going to get one of us to say, I don't want to play with this baby, can you take it away from me, was to punch the baby in the face.
Nice.
I love Tim Tom.
Oh. He said his name was Chinese, and I instantly racially changed his name in my head to Chim Chom, and then I pictured him as a tiny Bolu Young from Bloodsport, just uppercutting bitches.
His mom is white, and his dad is Chinese. He's of mixed
I don't care.
race.
It's funnier in my head. It's funnier in my head.
But he punched a baby in the face. Like, I know I joke about saying that I'm going to punch a baby in the face, but he actually punched a baby in the face.
It's impressive.
Well, yeah, Tim Tom. What do they expect? If you put a victim in front of him, they will be victimized. That's what Tim Tom does.
So that was my event. And after that, he was gone. Like, we're just like, you need to take this kid out. Like, make him go away. So, I mean, the TV's been replaced and everything's been replaced already because we had to. We couldn't not have a video game system for these kids because we have some of them who are in there for 6 hours, and I'm going to kill them if they don't do something. So, yeah, that was our adventure with Tim Tom this week, and maybe he won't come back, but I'm doubting that. We'll see him again.
That's how we'll start episode 147 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. An update on our unofficial mascot, Tim Tom.
Punching babies in the face and breaking TVs.
Falcon punch! That's all I can imagine when he punches things.
It was a really good jab too. I think this kid's in martial arts because I like see it in slow motion happening, like a train wreck, and it's a real, like, he has good form, so he knows what he's doing.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Welcome everyone to episode 147 of the podcast. We've got your full crew here. You've got Naki.
Hi.
You got Anthony.
Hello.
And you got me, Chris. We're all here on this live recording of ATGN on Sunday, February 22nd, 2015. It's like Ice-ageddon outside right now, and it's really upsetting to me.
I had that all week this week. It's actually kind of warm for us right now.
It's warm today,
Well,
thankfully.
It's spring here.
Yeah, I wish it was spring. And this is the warmest it's going to be for a week, and it's 35 today.
I put too much
Once
coconut
again,
oil in my tea.
It's
Greasy
ridiculous.
tea.
Yeah,
I hate it. They stole our winter again. We had winter for like 3 days in Idaho.
I don't want
Shut
winter.
up.
You can have my winter. I don't want it.
Give it back! I want it!
Okay.
I want icy
Like this-
roads and fucking 2 feet of snow.
I'm doing this
I love
right
it.
now, live on the internet. I'm giving you back your winter. Take it. Hey.
Give it to
I
me!
mean-
I want it!
I am actually like a really big fan of the winter because I like the cold. I'm not a big fan of heat. I'm not the cold is what's bothering me. I miss the sun. I would really like to just bask in sunlight right now.
Yeah, me too.
I can handle the cold. I can handle the snow. I can handle the ice. Like, I've lived in the Midwest majority of my life at this point. I want sunlight. That's what I want. I want it to not be gray anymore.
That would be swell. Swell, I say.
Swellington.
Now I'm all depressed because we're talking about absent sunlight and things like that. And
Would you rather me remind you that Tim Tom punched a baby in the face this week?
Falcon punch! That makes my day again.
You need to Tim Tom that asshole's car. That's what you need, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah. For those that aren't familiar, before the show, I was sharing with these guys that we've probably got about a ½ inch of ice across everything here, so I've been trying to chip away my driveway. And I was going to go out and get some ice melt until I looked outside and I realized, oh, there's some asshole that parked in the middle of the street right in front of my driveway, so I can't get out. It's awesome, and it fuels my rage. I've had suggestions to pee on their car, to poop on their car, to pour hot water on their car, but I think karmic justice has already taken place because it's been hit once today and almost hit another time because they're parked in the middle of the goddamn road.
I would suggest also, if you have a spark plug available, just put that on their windshield. It will shatter it in seconds.
This is true. I have seen hacking the system.
Nice.
I've done it. It's great.
I haven't had to do it.
I used to, where I used to work at the auto auction, we used to have to junk cars too, because, I mean, there was literally nothing we could do with them. There was no usable parts on it. So when we would junk them is when we got to do little experiments, like throwing spark plugs on a windshield.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've seen it on TV. There's a show I like on National Geographic Channel where they were saying, if you're locked out and it's an emergency, here's how you can get in.
Did you see National Geographic's most recent cover?
No.
It is really, it was the top picture on Imager when I looked at last. Let me double check. I believe it still is. No, it is not.
Okay.
It is like the 5th one now. But it is the war on science, and it says climate change does not exist, evolution never happened, the moon landing was fake, vaccination can lead to autism, and genetically modified food is evil. And it's this really, they're basically going on a rant that everybody is taking what science has done for us and saying it's bad.
Oh, jeez.
And it's just a giant long rant, and it's actually, like, I'm super excited to read this article. I like National Geographic a lot, though, too, so...
It sounds like the rant of the Conservative Party.
No. Like, they're saying that they want the like, this is the war on science, and it's wrong. This war on science is wrong.
Science is good for you.
Indeed.
Science will save us all. Vaccines don't cause autism.
Vaccinate your kid, or I'm going to feed him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and hope he fucking dies.
There was, what was it? Somebody had tweeted, and it was amazing. Measles, kids before 2010 only get that, or won't get this. It made me laugh.
No. It's just, yeah, like my buddies are talking about it now because they have school-age kids. One's got a 4-year-old, the other one has a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. And, like, they have kids in their classes that have peanut allergies, so they can't bring anything that's been in a room with a fucking peanut to school. Which, I mean, when we were a kid, you used to bring cupcakes and cookies and candy and, all sorts of shit when you're, in elementary school. They can't bring stuff like that because there might be one kid in the class that has a peanut allergy. But they'll let kids go to public schools now that aren't vaccinated for the fucking measles or the mumps or fucking polio, like little fucking plague carriers.
Pretty
I
much.
think it's fine if you don't want to, vaccinate your kid. Keep your fucking kid home and homeschool them so that they'll be just as dumb as you.
Well, because we have the same thing in our where I work right now, where we can't have anything with nuts in it at all. Like, I can't even, like, my dinner can't have nuts in it. But we have no we're not a daycare. Like, we don't take care of your kids. Like, you still have to change your own kids' diapers and shit like that. So, like, we don't check for vaccinations. But I know a few of them who aren't, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's squeaky. I don't know if that's a real word, but I'm going to go with it.
I like that word. It is a good word.
Yeah, so, I don't know. We've kind of BS'd for about 15 minutes like we normally do. Let's just roll into our news of the week.
News of the week.
And who's going to go first?
I have 2.
Well, why don't you go ahead, and I'm going to disappear for a couple minutes.
Bye, Chris. We'll miss you.
Maybe.
Go
for it, Nagi.
Okay, so I have 2 news of the week. My first one is because I'm in love with this man. I have a favorite actor, and his name is Doug Jones. If you don't know Doug Jones, he was Abe Sapien in Hellboy. He was almost all of the characters in Pan's Labyrinth, which if you haven't seen Pan's Labyrinth, it's fucking amazing. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, and I actually really want to watch that again. Maybe I'll do that today. And, like, basically any character that's on stilts and kind of deformed or anything like that, that's Doug Jones. He's really, really good at character acting. Let's see.
He's been in a suit in Hollywood.
Yeah, I
he
mean,
was also the Silver Surfer in the second FF film.
Yep, he's Silver Surfer. He was in Mystery Men. He was in Tank Girls. He was in Batman Returns. He was in Men in Black. He was in Men in Black 2. I mean, he's been in fucking everything. You probably don't even realize that he was in it because he's always in heavy costume.
If you don't know Doug Jones, you do. You just don't realize you do.
Yeah, basically. But anyways, so what I'm really excited for is that Doug Jones is now going to be an Arrow. Arrow, as we all talk about on this show, has been really good. I'm 2 episodes behind right now because I just haven't had time to sit and watch. But
you gotta get catched up. There's been some shit happening.
Yeah, I know. Boyfriend has been on my case. He's like, I want to talk about Arrow. I'm like, yeah, kind of like Flash. I'm 2 episodes behind. I'm 2 episodes on Constantine. Like, it's bad. Like, I'm super behind on everything right now.
Flash has been awesome, but yeah, like there's like big doings in Arrow in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Shit has been revealed and secrets have come to light, which is probably the easiest way to put it, not without spoiling anything. Yeah, it's awesome. There's some serious shit comes out, and then the best part of it is the writers wrote the not quite expected reactions to those secrets being told finally. So they did a good job of not just going for the standard, oh, this is what this person's going to do when they find out X. Like, they did a good job of writing what felt like character correct responses.
Well, that's cool.
That makes sense. Yeah, so it's been really good.
But anyway, so we don't talk about it. We don't run the risk of spoiling me. No. Doug Jones has been cast in Arrow, and he will be taking on Deathbolt. He'll be taking on he'll be Jake Simmons. It's a villain role, so I'm really kind of excited.
Deadbolt?
Deathbolt.
Deathbolt. I don't know if I've ever even heard of that character.
He was in All-Star Squadron, and he's I believe he manipulates electricity. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He is a metahuman.
I think he might have been one of Black Vulcan's enemies.
I think so. He's a metahuman, so we might get a crossover with this too.
Nice.
But he will be in the 19th episode of Season 3. So we'll see him this year.
Very cool. He's going to be a tall, lanky-ass supervillain.
Well, I mean, if you ever get the chance to meet him, he's a very sweet guy. He's been at a couple conventions that I worked at, and he is really tall, really skinny, but mostly really tall.
Yeah, the one thing Doug Jones can't do is fill out a suit like Ron Perlman did as Hellboy. Like, the one thing Doug Jones doesn't do is get beefy.
He was a fantastic Abe Sapien, though.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, he's just a stick. Like, he
is. Yeah.
Like, he's super tall and super skinny. That's why he can fit in all those amazing suits and just look so spectacular and quite often look non-human, just being himself. Like, he's an amazing actor. Yeah,
well, him as the fauna in Pan's Labyrinth was, and the Pale Man, holy shit, the Pale Man, was just amazing. Like I said, he was basically all the characters in Pan's Labyrinth, except for the little girl.
The little girl, the general, and then Doug Jones.
Yeah, and then Doug Jones, and that's all you need to know. And it was so good, so good. And then my other news, which is one that feeds to my fangirly self. 11-year-old girl, I believe her name is Rowan Hansen. Yeah, wrote a letter to DC, asking why there aren't more female superheroes and why they don't wear more practical costumes. Her letter says, it's not like male superheroes are better than the female superheroes, but there are just more of them. If Batman gets to wear armor, then why doesn't Wonder Woman? I know she's kind of invulnerable, but it would be nicer if she didn't have to wear a bathing suit all the time. If you're fighting crime, then I don't understand how you're going to camouflage yourself if you're wearing a bright pink suit. It's just not practical. And she wrote to DC Comics, and so they made her into a superhero, in which she says, her response was actually really cool. I don't want people to think, oh, they responded to her, now it's over. I want people to keep trying to make this happen because it's very important to me. And girl Preach it, because I've been wanting to. I've been saying that forever. But they did turn her into a superhero, which I thought was really cool. And her response was thanks, but that's not what I asked for. Like, she's like, that's cool. I'm a superhero now, and great, but yeah, I that's not what I want.
Pretty awesome.
I want to see.
In all fairness, I mean,
good.
Yeah, and DC has been, taking certain steps. Like we have, I was trying to think of the biggest example of it. Starfire's new costume, because she's an almost invulnerable alien that flies around, shoots energy blasts. But she was also like always the sexy character on Teen Titans. So I mean, there were points where that character literally wore like a thread of material across her nipples, and that was her entire costume. And with the new art team on it, I don't know if you've seen it yet or not. She's literally wearing a top and shorts, but it's an actual outfit. She still looks alien, because I mean she's not from Earth, she's not human. So I mean it's definitely not where she doesn't look like just a standard female, but it's something where she no longer looks like she's wearing a bathing suit.
See, I always think of Teen Titans Raven as Teen Titans that I used to watch on TV Raven, or not Raven, Starfire.
Starfire. Yeah, and actually, now that I think about it, she the costume in the comics looks a little bit more like she did on Teen Titans Go, to where it's like a short top with long sleeves and shorts. But I mean, in the comics, she was always, Corey was, the super hot chick on Titans, sleeping with Nightwing. Like most artists drew her in basically a string bikini with a ton of hair and tons of curves. Like it was a sex appeal character. They almost didn't do anything with her in a lot of the books.
And that's the thing that this little girl
they made a big change.
I mean, that's and I appreciate the change, but like DC themselves has a long way to go.
Well, I mean in all fairness, both the companies do, but it's one of those things where people complain about, like, because I say with the Spider-Man argument, they're like, oh, the new Spider-Man in the movies needs to be black. It's like, well, no, Peter Parker is a white character. He's a white kid from New York. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm saying all these characters that were created in the 40s, 50s, 60s were created by Jerry Siegel, Joe Shuster, two white Jewish kids. Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, two white Jewish kids. Like it was a bunch of men that were white living in major metropolitan cities, and they created characters that they knew. They created white kids or white guys. Like that's. It's not that there's. It just seems weird. People like kind of say that there's something wrong with the fact that there's not enough female characters in DC. Or there's not enough, diversity in Marvel or on like the Justice League. There could be more diversity, but the idea that there has to be a black Green Lantern in the movie just because there has to be a black character, I don't really see it. Like bring a good character on the team. Not necessarily does it have to be someone that's multicultural. Just get the best characters.
See, and this is from me, as a multiracial female. It's kind of one of those things that, yes, they were created this way, but this was back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and times have changed. And that's the thing that people are asking for, is they're asking for the times to change. Well, the times have changed, therefore they want their things to be updated to a point where USA is not just a white state or white country. It's
well, no,
we are no. Let me finish before you, because I know what you're going to say. Okay.
Oh, I got a response for you, Naki. I got a response.
The thing is that what the comic companies aren't doing is updating to where their readers are. Because it's no longer just white guys reading. You now have little girls who read comics. You have people like me who read comics. You've got, when I was working C2E2 and when I was working all the different conventions, I had more people of different ethnicities, and diversity working for me and with me more than I did of just white guys. And the fact of the matter is that things are much more diverse than when things were created. And yes, I understand Peter Parker is a white guy, Superman is a white guy, Batman is a white guy, and Wonder Woman is an Amazonian woman. But the only which there's your diversity. There's that one strand of diversity, but it's like that's not enough for us anymore. That's what's being said. Is that like, yes, you have these characters, and we're glad that they exist. You know, we're glad that they were the starting point, but times have changed, and we are moving on from this, and we want, like, I'm not saying that Peter Parker has to be black. I'm saying that why not bring in Miles Morales?
Yes, but that was my point. Doing it correctly, updating the universe. But I don't see the need to update the character. Now, if you want to tell me that Superman looks black, okay. He's a fucking Kryptonian. We don't know what Kryptonians look like. It's a made-up fucking thing. So if they wanted to change the ethnic look of Kryptonians, I would be fine with that. But when they when the media is trying to tell me that there has to be a black actor play the role of Peter Parker, that I don't buy, because Peter Parker's a white character. He's a Caucasian from New York. Always has been. That's what the character's based around. I mean, it wouldn't be wrong if a black actor played the character, but I don't see the need for it when there has been the ethnic change in the Ultimate Universe, where Bendis brought in the amazing fucking Miles Morales in a fantastic storyline in a world where Peter Parker died saving his aunt, and it was fucking perfect. Like, if you want, an ethnically diverse Spider-Man, bring in Miles Morales. He's a great fucking character. My problem with Secret Wars, what they're going to do is I think we're going to get both of them in the same world, and if you have Peter Parker standing next to Miles Morales, I don't think Miles Morales is a necessary character. They haven't made him necessary yet. That's my only problem there. But I mean, yeah, if they wanted to bring in, a non-white person, which, yeah, if you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's not much ethnic diversity in the Avengers. It's a bunch of white guys and fucking Black Widow, which is, she's Russian, but she's a white chick. Like, it's an entire team of white people, and then, James Rhodes in the War Machine Iron Patriot armor. That's it. I mean, it's a very white, cinematic universe. I mean, people flipped out because Idris Elba was fucking Heimdall, which I thought was great, and he did an amazing job on it. And you know what? No one can tell me what the fucking Norse god of all seeing looks like. So it's fucking fine that Idris Elba was Heimdall. There's nothing wrong with it.
There was a lot of people who backlashed against that, though, too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There was tons, but it's one of those things like when people talk about, the right actor for the right job, where, like, some people will be mad if the new Peter Parker's cast and it's not white, and I'll probably be one of them. But it's because it's a white character. Well, at the same time, these people are like, well, it should be the best actor for the job. Well, if the best actor for the job, say when they were casting Black Panther, was John Leguizamo, people would have been pissed. Because if it wasn't an African-American actor, they would have complained that the role was given to someone who wasn't African-American. But at the same time, Wakanda's a fake fucking country. So you can't tell me what a Wakandan looks like.
But to be fair on that one, the fact is that there, other than Rhodey, there isn't a black character.
Yeah, no, and I can't wait to see Boseman as Black Panther. He's going to be fucking awesome. It's the problem that people will fight the argument from one way but not the other direction. If they say, oh, well, this actor was better, then he should get the job. Well, if that's the case, then apply that to all the Marvel superheroes.
Also, John Leguizamo would be a terrible fucking Black Panther.
Yeah,
I'm just stating.
Like, that's the first actor that comes to my head, because every once in a while he pulls off a role that's just amazing. I loved him in John Wick. I actually just saw him in The Lincoln Lawyer. He was great in that as well.
We actually just watched John Wick last night.
Yeah, if an actor showed up for the casting for Black Panther that wasn't a black guy, people would have freaked out right then. But if Marvel had chosen someone that wasn't black to play Black Panther, the fucking nerd world would have exploded. And it would have been called like the most racist casting of all time. They would have said they whitewashed Black Panther. When, okay, it's a South African, or it's an African country, but Wakanda doesn't fucking exist. You can't tell me what a Wakandan looks like. It's a made-up country with made-up people. And so, I know for a fact there's that one little chunk of South Africa that's filled with racist white people. If Wakanda was next door to that, maybe Wakandans are white. Like, it's made up. But people would freak out, if the actor playing Black Panther wasn't a black actor. I don't know. The whole racist thing of casting just seems to go back and forth and be argued, but nobody wants to seem to argue it from both sides. That seems to be my problem with it. And yeah, if you want to talk diversity, I'll give you diversity. Action Labs, Fight Like a Girl, main character, African-American teenager running around kicking the shit out of gods. Motherfucking Midnight Tiger. One of the coolest superhero books ever. Ray Anthony Height's fucking character is awesome. African-American living in an urban city jumping around like Spider-Man. Badass Martheus Wade and family doing Shinobi Ninja Princess. A female fucking Japanese descent badass ninja girl. Fucking awesome book. And then, of course, there's always Princess, which, you know, we've talked about multiple times.
I mean, the thing is that the big two, and where we all started with this, is that they haven't, like, Marvel in their comics has updated themselves quite a bit. But if you watch Hulk and the Agents of Smash, She-Hulk is a wimp. And that pisses me off. Like, I watched She-Hulk on there, and I'm like, what did you do to my badass lawyer, who is also just happens to be She-Hulk? And then
I've never seen it. They made Jennifer Walters a wimp?
Like, her character is fucking terrible. I'm like, what did you do? Because
I was like She-Hulk. I mean, she's not as strong as Hulk, but I mean on the physical, like, lifting ton scale, but she was always a badass character. I like She-Hulk.
Right, She-Hulk.
So what you're saying is it's not the Dan Slott. You're saying it's not the Dan Slott She-Hulk that was amazing in comedy and sarcasm.
I mean, the thing is that they've updated their comic. Marvel has updated their comic universe. Now they need to update their television and their cinematic universe. DC hasn't even updated their comic universe. That's the thing. Is that, like, yes, we've got Jon Stewart now. We've got a couple of things here and there, but let's look at their history. Okay, we had Batwoman, who was bad fucking ass until they were like, oh yeah, by the way, she can't be a lesbian because that's weird. So
that's right. They unwrote the lesbian part, didn't they?
Yeah, she's no longer a lesbian because that's just too weird for them. We have one alien woman who we just discussed, Starfire. We have Wonder Woman who runs around in a bathing suit. We have Batgirl, who is badass, but every now and then they're like, oh, but she's still Batman's underling, so we're going to remind you that she's not as good as Batman. And then we have...
in all fairness, no one's as good as the Bat God.
Well, because he's a fucking Bat God.
Yeah.
And then, but I mean,
on the writer.
They do
on
it.
The writer.
Right. They write her, especially since Gail Simone, doesn't write her anymore. That book has gone downhill. And and we've got Mara, who isn't around enough for people who, especially because people don't really read Aquaman now that Jeff Johns is gone again. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, DC, like, of the two, DC needs to update. DC, like...
Yeah, they definitely have less diversity than Marvel, because Marvel's always been a better reflection of the real world, which is, their characters live in Manhattan. They live in L.A. They live in real American cities, while the DC universe, all their heroes are from made-up towns, because they live in a fantasy version of Earth, where the Marvel universe is really set in our world if there were superheroes.
Right.
And yeah, the whole argument of the Just Us League, where it's the one person, the last of each kind, and yeah, it's funny because I always remember the Bruce Timm argument, because he had to give an argument of why Jon Stewart was the Green Lantern on the Justice League cartoon, and he was straight up like towing the company line, because the reason he gave was utter bullshit. He said they picked Jon Stewart because he's the only Green Lantern that doesn't wear a mask. I'm pretty sure fucking Guy Gardner never wore a mask.
I was gonna say Guy Gardner never wore a mask. Everybody knew who Guy Gardner was.
If you go back and watch the interviews and they're talking about the making of the Justice League cartoons with Bruce Timm, that was like the company line that I'm pretty sure DC made him spin, because what he couldn't say was, well, we got white Wonder Woman, white Batman, white Aquaman, white Superman. We needed a black character.
I mean, and the thing is that...
And that's why Jon Stewart's on the team. It's not because he's the best Green Lantern. It's because they needed ethnic diversity to get the cartoon on TV so that people wouldn't be pissed at him.
There's that, but the thing is that Wonder Woman's an Amazon, so I don't understand why she's always white.
White? It's because, well, that's how she's always been drawn. And though, honestly, when it comes to costumes, she's the only one whose costume I would defend, because if she wants to rock a bikini, she's a god. And no one can beat her up, so if she feels confident rocking that, that's the one character I would say could wear basically whatever she wants. And every time they're trying to change her costume, it sucked. There's just never been a good redesign.
They haven't been good at redesigning her costume because it's basically always going to be tits and ass. Because, she was originally written as a male power fantasy.
No. Yeah, the only thing that's close is the armor she wears in Kingdom Come, but like she can't wear that all the time. Like the Amazonian battle armor they had in there was amazing, but it wouldn't work if she walked around in that all day every day in her comic book. It would seem just clunky.
Oh, right, because all of those other armored costumes completely make sense to walk around in all day, every day.
Like who?
Like any of those characters. Any character. Like any of those costumes are, like, I'm sorry, have you ever worn spandex? None of those costumes make any sense to walk around in all day, every day.
Yeah, but if the skin underneath is basically unbreakable, it's like the fact that, Superman wears a full bodysuit. He doesn't really need it. He could go out rocking a Speedo, but he's drawn by guys, so they're not going to put him in a Speedo and draw that every day. But, basically, I look at the two, on power level, Superman and Wonder Woman are roughly the same. He could, Clark could walk around in an outfit that was just pants.
I'm sorry, but Wonder Woman has beat the shit out of Superman
at
least 4 times off a hand.
When they're not fighting each other, they're on equal footing. When they're fighting each other, when they do fight each other, she wins because Clark has no defense to magic. Yeah, Wonder Woman can beat the shit out of Superman. But yeah, I'm saying as a power level, them both being super strong, flying around with invulnerability. Like if Superman was just wearing a pair of pants, like I would see no problem with that. He's a god. He's an almost no one can hurt him. Nothing fucking phases him, and he does whatever he wants. And just he wears this the suit because it's the Kryptonian heritage or whatever. But yeah, it's because guys didn't want to draw a naked dude. They want to draw naked girls.
They did put him in armor for the New 52 though. He is wearing an armored suit in the New 52.
Well, I'm not gonna talk New 52 because nah. DC's got me down to one book. I read Batman because of Greg Capullo's artwork and because of Snyder's awesome storytelling. Though Year Zero was about 18 issues too long.
18.
It was 24 issues.
The whole thing
was 24 issues. It could have been 6. It could have been maybe 8. Like an amazingly tight story in 8 issues would have been fantastic. They stretched it out to 2 fucking years. But in that 2 years, it was 2 years of Greg Capullo drawing badass Batman in a fucked up post-apocalyptic Riddler-owned Gotham. That was amazing. Fucked up Batman with his beat-up armor rocking around on a dirt bike. Like those are some fucking great pages. As long as Capullo's drawn it, I'll keep getting that book. I don't care who's writing it.
So to not get down on DC too much, they're one of their best books ever. I do happen to have a hardcover of it. It's called A League of One. It's a Justice League story, but it's basically a Wonder Woman story because she beats up all the superheroes and then goes and slays a dragon. So you got that.
I've never read that one.
I highly recommend it.
It's
gorgeously done. It's done by Mahler. I can't think of their first name. It is absolutely wonderful. That one was done, I want to say late 90s. I mean, it's been a while since they've had something good. Their Vertigo line has, I think it's over now, but they had Coffin Hill, which was super cool. Not diverse by any means, but it was magic and horror, and it was really well done. So, like, I never minded any of the Vertigo stuff, really. They also had Hinterkind. I think that one is also done, but that one was one where the apocalypse happened and animals take over, and the humankind is trying to survive with the animals, and it's not working out so well.
There were some ethnic diversity stories told in American Vampire that were done really well.
I liked American Vampire. I liked American Vampire a lot.
I was a white guy, but there was a lot of other races. When they go to that town in like Alabama or whatever, and like the vampires are trying to eat the jazz musicians, that was a fucked up storyline.
It was a really fucked up storyline.
Yeah, it was really good. And ethnic diversity, freaking Southern Dog, which just finished for Action Lab Danger Zone. Jeremy Holt's fantastic story about racism told through the lens of a werewolf story. Fucking awesome. The trade paperback's just now coming out for that one. Anybody that hasn't read it, go get it. It's fucking great.
Hey, look, Chris has returned.
I have returned.
Chris is back. We're talking about how racist DC is.
Oh, okay.
Not was yelling about Marvel, and I turned it on. I turned the conversation to how bad DC is, because that's how I work. Because I'm a Marvel zombie.
90% positive that we were pretty even on this. I don't know, but
like I said, yeah, it's a bunch of comic books created by what was 19, 20, and 30-year-old white Jewish kids in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So that's
pretty much.
But the thing,
that's where it starts.
It starts there, but that doesn't mean that the times can't grow with, the comics can't grow with the times, because that is no longer how the world is anymore.
No, I have no problem with the comics growing. You just don't tell me Peter Parker needs to be black.
But we're not even at that. We're not talking about that. The whole thing started was because of 11-year-old.
People that are talking about him coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there are hundreds of articles
right now what we're talking about.
How he needs to be black. I'm just saying that when they make the changes correctly, I love it.
Anthony, we weren't even talking about that. We were talking about an 11-year-old girl saying that she wants more female superheroes that aren't in bikinis and should be regularly dressed. And I don't understand why you keep bringing in Peter Parker.
Because I love Spider-Man. That 11-year-old girl should quit reading DC Comics and go read Action Lab. That's what I'm saying.
But the thing is that they don't. Action Lab isn't always available. There's if you go to comic book stores, the big two is usually what's available.
Yeah, well, if people quit buying their books, they'll change faster.
Oh my God!
if that little girl goes to the shop and asks for Action Lab books, they will order them for her.
It's not like everybody knows who if you are outside of our comic book bubble, people don't know about indie comics. They really don't. They know about Marvel, they know about DC, because there's movies, because there's, and yeah, Kingsman was fucking great, but people still don't know that it was a comic book first.
Well, that's why we have to tell them all.
But outside of our comic book bubble, people don't know. And if she is an 11-year-old girl, I'm betting you she has no idea what Action Lab is. She knows DC and she knows Marvel. She knows that her comic books all have female characters that are in bathing suits, and she doesn't want that. She wants to see normal dress characters. Think like an 11-year-old girl, Anthony.
I can't. But I think that's probably a good thing.
You kept bringing up Spider-Man. I guess you've been following Dan Slott on Twitter, I take it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's been having
Are we back on Spider-Man?
I'm not bringing it up to say anything either way. I'm just saying Dan Slott's been having an interesting conversation with fans either way about Peter Parker being white, black, whatever, and should it really matter. So if you're curious, go check out Dan Slott's Twitter. It's a very interesting argument. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. And the guy has written the last 200 some odd issues of Spider-Man, so he does know what he's talking about. Though I may not agree with him, he does know what he's talking about.
I don't agree with some of the things he did to Spider-Man, but his opinion is his opinion, and I see merit to that, and I see merit to other sides, and I'm not going to drag us in an argument down that, because it sounds like that was going on while I was gone.
Anthony and I have disagreements, but
what can I say? I can't think like an 11-year-old girl. I can't do it.
I am also, but the thing is that I'm always going to have a different viewpoint because I'm a multiracial female in a world where they designed it basically for white guys.
I know, and I'm a white guy.
Oh, dear Lord. So
this is literally what we've been doing the entire time while you've been gone. We talked about how great Doug Jones was, and then we bitched at each other for 45 minutes.
It's been awesome. Yeah, we didn't even get to Aquaman or my news of the week.
Let me do my news of the week real quick, and then we'll toss it on to Anthony's news of the week. So, my news of the week, John Oliver's Last Week Tonight just got renewed for 2 years.
Yay! I fucking love Last Week Tonight.
He's probably like, thanks, Jon Stewart, I just got a crap ton more money, because they're
So, is Daily Show going to end with Jon Stewart, or are they going to find somebody else?
They haven't said yet, that, to be honest. A lot of people think it might end, and they'll just start something new with it, and then a smaller group of people are like, well, we'll just bring someone else in to
I mean, Jon Stewart is not the first host of Daily
That's right.
Show. He's the longest running and most prevalent, but he's not the first.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is to do with Daily Show, and to be honest, I was always more of a fan of Colbert Report than I was the Daily Show, so I'm already in morning.
But
What
I
do
guess
you think of...
go
Sorry.
ahead, Ducky.
I was going to ask, I haven't watched... See, I'm not an avid watcher of either, but new host of Colbert Report, I can't think of his name. It's now called The Minority Report, right?
Yeah, it's Larry Williams, I think. I can't remember.
Have you watched it? I haven't gotten to watch it.
I watched about half of it, but again, I wasn't a regular watcher of those things. Most of what I saw in Colbert is it would get hot on social media, and then I would watch little excerpts on YouTube and things like that.
That's basically how I do it.
So I haven't gotten a ton of those from the news show yet, so I'm not sure that's an indicator of good, bad, indifferent. They could just be finding their place right now. Hell if I know. But what do you got for us, Anthony? What's your news of the week?
My news of the week is Oni Press will be adding a little more ethnic diversity into the creators of comics, because one Mr. Johan Vasquez is bringing back Invader Zim, so we can all sing the doom.
I may or may not be completely obsessed with Invader Zim.
Zim, it was great. I was never really a fan of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. It was way too emo 90s for me, but I did dig the guy's art style. He had a very, very strange, dark, hard-line version of cartoony artwork that you didn't really see anywhere else in comics. So, I mean, I own a couple issues of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac just because the artwork is so fucking spectacular and really one of a kind. There's nobody else that draws the way that guy does. And Invader Zim was just a blast. I love the cartoon. So,
if you didn't like what Johnny the Homicidal Maniac was, but you liked his art style, check out Squee. Squee is a small child who...
Squee I liked.
Yeah, I own every issue of everything, and I also own it in hardcover and in paperback, which he has signed for me, and I also have all of Filler Bunny, and I Feel Sick, and I'm a huge Jonan Vasquez fan. I own everything that he's ever done, and it's kind of scary. Yeah, his art is absolutely nuts, but if you want to get past, like, the three big things that he did was Invader Zim, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and Squee. Filler Bunny was, again, just a filler thing. He's got a couple others, like Happy Noodle Boy, and which is one of my favorite things because it's basically just a man screaming at people about rabbits that are inside of his anus, and they're sucking on his insides.
Nice.
He's written. There was one. Oh, God. It was a food-based one, but I couldn't eat because it was so fucking disgusting.
Was that Chew?
No. That's a different comic.
Yeah.
No, it was another Jonan comic, and I can't think of the name of it. But it's hard to find his stuff because he does all indie press. But anyways, I'm super excited that Invader Zim is coming back in comic book form because that means we'll still get all of the craziness that is Jonan Vasquez, and this time it's not going to be censored by Nickelodeon.
Well, it says Oni's Invader Zim #1, produced in collaboration with both Vasquez and Nickelodeon, is scheduled for release on July 1st.
So maybe he
what
won't
I'm
get all
thinking
of
it
his
might be
stuff in there.
Well, they might be working together to see if the book does well enough to possibly bring back the cartoon.
It's been brought back. They've tried to bring it back twice now, but they keep censoring Jonah to a point where he won't do it. So maybe they'll do it as an ongoing
Maybe Nickelodeon
comic.
has to be involved just for like copyright issues. Maybe they still own part of the IP itself. But
Yeah, that's probably it. But
the quote from Vasquez was awesome. It says, "I'm always confused when people say how much they miss Invader Zim because the show never stopped running in my head, and then I remember everyone else isn't in my head." He says,
a little screwy.
Yeah. He says, "It's quoted in Oni Press release announcing the series. I try to imagine this world for all those people who don't know what Zim's been up to since the show went off the air, and it makes me shudder. How can people live that way? Hopefully this comic helps make the world a better place." So we're going to find out what Zim's been up to this whole time while he's been running around Vasquez's head.
I mean, if you've never watched Invader Zim, the entire series is up on Hulu. It is just ridiculous. And you have to remember that this was a show for children. It came out, like, I think 13 years ago. Like, it's an old show.
2001 to 2006, but it was only 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Like they definitely had production delays.
Because they kept censoring him. There was one episode, and it's the worst Christmas ever episode that got so many letters written to Nickelodeon because
that was a good one.
They said that there was Nazism in there. There was, there's just the whole show was just complete madness. And they did an interview with the voice actors of it, and they're like, our voice acting audition was we had to go into a room and scream. Because literally that is the entire show, is them screaming at each other.
Yes. It was so awesome. But yeah, so starting July 1st, we will have new Invader Zim. So I will be adding another book to my pull list.
Nice. I'm not sure how else to reply to
that. My insane emo self is like, from when I was like 12, really wants all this to happen. So that's it. So shall we talk about Jason Momoa?
Yeah, we should probably do that and then start wrapping up, because Zack Snyder kind of unleashed some news for everyone.
Some huge elephant in the room.
Yes.
I actually okay, so because I'm sure that Anthony and I are I'm sure that Anthony and I are going to fight on this, but I actually really enjoy this look.
Oh, you think we're going to fight on this, huh?
Well, we fight on everything, so yeah, I was going with it. We're probably going to fight on this.
Touche.
I actually really like this. This doesn't make me want to see the movie still, but I mean, it's kind of cool that, you know, he looks like a badass warrior that he should be.
I have no problem with this look personally. I'm just not sure how dreadlocks are going to look in the water. Flowing around, long hair floating around. That's just a me going, I wonder how they're going to do that, not complaining.
He still looks like Khal Drogo, just with underwater armor. I'm okay with this. I loved Khal Drogo.
So now we got to see if Anthony and Naki are going to fight on this. What do you think, Anthony?
I came with a very simple equation. I love Peter David, Kurt Busiek, and Jeff Johns. 3 fantastic writers that have written some of my very favorite comics. But if you got Peter David, Kurt Busiek, and Jeff Johns over here, and Zack Snyder over here, the greater symbol goes this way. Because when it comes to Aquaman, with one image, Zack Snyder has made me care more about Aquaman than those 3 writers did on their fucking runs. This is the first time Aquaman's ever looked like a badass. Not only does he look like a badass, it looks like the Maoris and the fucking Samoans are descendants of Atlantis. It makes it look like he's part of the fucking world. I've never understood the random, blonde surfer dude with the green armor, or the green and orange armor. I've never understood how that fits into Earth.
There actually has been fight about the fact that he is not green and orange. I'm like, why? It's awesome, because the green and orange looks terrible.
There's talk that the image is a little filtered, and that there might be some orange in the scale work on his shoulder piece, and that the pants might actually have some green tinge to them. But it doesn't look like a piece of orange chainmail, which, in the comics when he was originally created, that's, it was a crazy look, and it looked really cool, and he was a great character. But when you talk about making it like a live action version, or even in the cartoons, he never seemed to fit. Like, Namor kind of fits in the Marvel Universe, but even then, Atlanteans seem very separate from, Earthlings. This image makes Atlanteans seem like they're actually part of, they verged off from a part of an Earth culture, which makes fucking sense. He looks fucking badass. Right now, I'd say he's the most badass-looking character in the movie.
Jason Momoa tends to look badass, though, in most of the things he does.
There's not much you can do to make Jason Momoa not look like a badass.
So, looking in the chat room.
I just bought a Bullet to the Head for $3, the movie where he fights Sylvester Stallone with a pair of fireman's axes in the end scene. It's one of the weirdest fucking crazy assassin movies ever, and it's literally just Jason Momoa in a black t-shirt with his hair pulled back in a ponytail. And he still looks like one of the most badass people on the planet. As soon as they said he was cast as Aquaman, this is what I was hoping they were going to do. He looks fucking great.
Oh, I think so, too. And looking in the chat room, Willie Nelson had pointed out, he goes, yeah, Naki, this is just a Khal Drogo photo shoot from 2012.
Oh, okay. I'm okay with this.
No,
And
it's not actually.
it does really look like that, but I mean, a little face paint, he could be Khal Drogo. The only thing that I can't believe is, like, dear God, all the Samoan-looking tattoos. The idea that he has to do that every day when they go to set. That's
a lot of those are his.
Fucking work.
He has a lot of tattoos, like the diamond-shaped stuff on his arm is his tattoos.
Okay, I guess maybe I've never seen him in a movie lately where they've actually shown his artwork on it.
It's on his forearms normally. I can't really see it here, but I do know that when they did Stargate Atlantis at one point, he went and got a bunch of tattoos in between seasons when they'd done a cliffhanger, and they made him have to wear an armband and stuff for the first couple episodes. It's like, there's no feasible way your character could have gotten these tattoos in between cliffhangers.
Okay, yeah, if some of that's actually his, then that's much better that they're actually showing it, because, I mean, one, it looks badass, but I was just looking at it, it's like, man, if that's all fucking, airbrush that they got to do every day, that's a lot of fucking work.
Looking at it, a lot of it might be airbrush, but I do know he has a lot of stuff on, like, the forearms. It's, like, diamond-shaped and stuff. Looks very similar to what you see on the shoulders and stuff like that, so I'm not sure. And also in the chat room, Willie Nelson did point out, it's aqua and orange, thank you, for Aquaman's colors. Not
whenever they clash terribly and they look awful.
Well, yes, there's that as well.
Yeah, it's a hell of a color scheme. I did like it too. I read an article where they're talking about the backlash of Aquaman not being a badass, and they really found that it's the article, I can't remember where it was, but the writer found that it's really a generational thing. Any of us old enough to remember Super Friends, we're the last generation that really thinks of Aquaman as a punk. Yeah. And all the kids that grew up that didn't watch Super Friends, that first met him in the Justice League, and then saw him as like the braggadocious singing character in Batman Brave and the Bold, none of those kids really have a problem with Aquaman being a badass, because they don't think of him as the crappy superhero with bad powers who talks to fish. Like, really, apparently there's a real separation, generational divide for any of us that grew up with Super Friends, where, like, Aquaman was just a joke. And so apparently, they said a lot of people were wondering, like, well, how are they going to make Aquaman badass for the movie? And DC's like, yeah, we don't have to worry about it. Most of the people that are going, their kids already think Aquaman's a badass, or the most braggadocious character ever from Batman: Brave and the Bold. Because I mean, he was great in that show.
He was really good in Brave and the Bold. Yeah. We actually just watched Brave and the Bold not too long ago.
This will be the adventure of when I saved Blue Beetle. Like, he was fucking great. He was ridiculous.
I actually didn't. There was a lot of people who didn't like Batman: Brave and the Bold, and I'm like, how did you not like this show? It's ridiculous.
Those would be the people that would also say that they never liked Batman 66.
That's true.
It's one of those things. I can't remember. Kevin Smith talked to somebody where he said that, like, he no longer liked the Batman 66, and the Michael Keaton Batman was his Batman. And I can't remember which writer it was that was talking to him. Was like, man, don't turn your back on your past. If you love that character, love that character. There's different versions. It's okay to like them all. Yeah,
I think so.
There's some people that they have to have that dark, gritty Christopher Nolan Batman, and they can't put that in the same universe with a Batmite flying around talking to a cartoon Batman who always saves the day, has bat repellent, or bat shark repellent in his in his utility belt, and and happens to crack the occasional joke. Like, some people can't feasibly put those two together in as the same character and like them both. But yeah, there are different versions of Batman. And I mean, hell, go back to the old school one. Batman used to shoot gangsters in the face with Tommy guns. Like, he's not the character he always was. He's been through a lot of incarnations himself.
It's because you don't fuck with the Batman.
That's right. Batman used to be a murderous son of a bitch. And now he's the character that never kills, doesn't use guns. He's changed. He's changed over the years.
Well, looking at the time, it's time for us to start wrapping up. Before we wrap up in our normal way of sharing what we've been getting into and are getting into, don't forget, we're running the ATGN Hero Contest, or whatever the hell we want to call it. We haven't really come up with an official name for it. But basically, the premise is, everyone's making all this money off superhero movies. We want in. So the contest here is create your own superhero, supervillain, things like that. Submit it to us, and you might win one of the trade paperbacks out of my collection I'm trying to get rid of, and the best hero created overall. One Anthony Bachman will do a sketch for you of that hero, what it looks like. So if you want to get involved, if you want to submit your hero, villain, or as many of them as you want to, because there's no limit on submissions, make sure you go to contest.atgnpodcast.com.
Write better characters. than DC.
Oh wow, we're gonna have a fight now. I think I can't wait to see what hero Naki creates.
She's gonna create a team of half African American, half Asian women for me to draw. It'll be the most socially diverse group ever.
Ever.
So
and they will be called Minority Report.
So make sure when you submit your characters, go to contest.atgnpodcast.com or just go to the front page and click the contest button. You can submit as many characters as you want, and on episode 150, assuming we've gotten a few, we will reveal the best, the funniest, and things like that. And you might be a winner. So
and all the characters I'm going to create for Anthony.
Okay. So let's wrap up.
I only agreed to draw one character. Just
I'm expecting all 50 of my characters drawn. Anthony.
Oh dear Lord. So let's wrap up the show real quick, and we're gonna, since we're running over, just in a couple sentences, we're gonna share what we've been getting into and what we are getting into going ahead. How about you, Naki? Why don't you go first?
I'm replaying South Park: Stick of Truth because I glitched out before, so now I'm playing it again. We just saw John Wick last night. We saw Kingsman.
Oh, that's an awesome movie. Both of them.
We saw Kingsman for Valentine's Day, so it's been action movies all over the place. And I'm doing a lot of homework. Let me do your taxes for you as practice. Please don't. I don't want
you to do my taxes.
Hey, I got myself quite a bit of money back.
I can get myself quite a bit of money back, too.
Yeah.
So, as for me, I have been reading a crap ton of comics because I'm still using that Scribed app I told you guys about a couple weeks ago where it's all-you-can-eat comics. So, basically, I'm reading my way through Ultimate X-Men right now from issue 1. Next, I'll do Ultimate Spider-Man again because I love that series. I've also played a little bit of South Park: Stick of Truth, and I'm being forced to watch some Doctor Who here and there. So I've seen some episodes of Eccleston and David Tennant's run.
Yay!
And last night, the companion Rose became no longer the companion.
Oh, that is such a sad episode.
Yeah, it was a bummer. I only caught the last half of it, but yeah. So I've been doing that, and then that's about it. What have you been getting into, Anthony?
I moved in a roommate, so that meant I spent most of the week packing boxes, moving stuff, and clearing out rooms. So I sadly haven't been drawing, but I got back to it last night, did my sketch of Marvel Boy, so I've done 5 of my 6 original New Warriors, and I'm trying to do a 6 sketch card set with just the OG New Warriors on it, so I get to ink that today, and then draw Firestar. She's the last one, which will be awesome, because it's all hair. It's all hair.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. I have been trying not to spend all my money on Kickstarter, so just real quick, Tales of Mr. Rhee, so MR.RHEE, by Mr. Dirk Manning, has 10 days left to go on it.
He's my buddy.
Carmageddon Deluxe Hardcover Collection. Go check that one out. Terraquill Collected by Sean Daly has 12 days left to go. That one's in Canadian dollars, so make sure you check that out, and then look at the conversion rate when you pay for it. It'll change on you. But that one's a collected story. There's some fantastic artwork. Sean Daly's a buddy of the An Elegant Weapon podcast. And then The Untamed, a Sinner's Prayer hardcover graphic novel, just popped up by Sebastian Jones. It's got 25 days to go, and it just passed the $10,000 point of its $12,000 pledge, so pretty sure that one's going to be funded. And the other two, Terraquill and Tales of Mystery, are both above their pledge goal, so they are books that will be done, will be published, and will be on their way to you once they get everything done. And then the big news, I read Geek this week. I read the finished, colored, lettered version of Geek this week. So the motherfucking book is done. Good news is I'm done with it. It's done. Bad news is I didn't get to color the rest of it. They brought in someone to finish the book off because of basically shit I had going on in my life. But the really fucking good news is it's done. It's going to the printers. Copies should be going out, to the backers in the Kickstarter. I think within a month or so. Matt sent out a new survey getting everybody's updated address. So it might be the longest Kickstarter that actually ever completed, got its money, and then people thought that after 3 years they'd taken their money and ran away, but the comic book will actually show up. But yeah, it is done. I read through the whole thing. It looks great. Fucking Sherrod Jackson, I don't know what type of drugs the man is on, but he did the second half of the book in basically a month and a half. He's insane. I don't know how he colors as fast as he does. It's awesome. yeah, Geek is done. Got my drawings done, and then I got caught up on all my Geek shows, which I kind of needed to do because between Constantine, Agent Carter, Flash, Arrow, there's so much Geek TV going that I really wanted to do a podcast about it, but I didn't want to do just a Constantine podcast over here on Gonna Geek because there's already so many shows covering all of the different ones. So over at the Points of Interest Podcast Network, and if you look on my bar now, you can see at CMYKTV, I am now the host/co-host of CMYKTV podcast for the POI Podcast Network, which we do now live every Thursday night, just like this show, on the YouTube and the Google Hangout, and we will be spoiler fucking crazy on every geek show out there. So if you want to get caught up and listen to us talk about every show, that's the one to go check out. If it's based on a comic book and it's on TV, we will be talking about it on that show every week.
Nice.
We did our pilot episode on Thursday, and we had one viewer. I was creeped out by the fact that we put it up with no fanfare, nobody knew it was coming, and somebody actually tuned in and watched. It was a little strange.
Maybe it's a good indicator for the future. I don't know.
Hopefully, yeah, it was fun. We had, we didn't. I haven't finished the logo yet. We didn't have a format, nothing. We were just kind of going with it. But yeah, it was fun. Me, Francis Fernandez, Josh Hawks, and the Jedi Ross, Jay Clark. That'll be the four of us every week. So it's a fun show. We talk comic book TV stuffs.
Awesome. So make sure you check that out, or check out any other great podcasts that are part of the Gonna Geek Network as well. Basically, if you come and listen to this show, we can direct you to a crap ton of other shows to listen to also, because we know everyone.
This is true.
Well, sort of. We'll pretend like we know everyone.
Someone's fun about it, we know them.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's how it goes. We're going to pretend that's how it goes, at least. So, unless you guys have any final thoughts, let's wrap it up.
Let's go. I gotta pee. I want to eat French toast, not at the same time.
So Naki's got to pee, and on that note, we're going to go let her pee. Don't forget, we stream live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, over at live.atgnpodcast.com. Come be part of our peanut gallery. Slide into the chat room and let us know what you think about what we're talking about, what you want us to talk about. But you'll have to do that next week.
You can talk to Willie Nelson.
You can talk to Willie Nelson like he's been here this week. Thanks for joining the peanut gallery.
And don't forget to sign up for the contest.
Yes.
Indeed, contest.
So we're going to
get out of here.
We're going to get out of here. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.